Test miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. Testmiles.com.
Staying connected. FM News 101 KXL with the automotive world. You're listening to Portland's #1 car show, Test Miles. Thank you for being with us and heading into our third year of broadcasting.
In honor of Valentine's Day, we have the top 3 picks for smooching in a car for 2016. That's Jaguar F-Type, Lexus RCF, and the CT6 by Cadillac.
And I have to agree. I've smooched in all of them just with my hand. And it was very comfortable doing that. All right. So, Shaun, what have you been driving?
I've been driving the Toyota Tacoma. Comes in 2 different engine types, a 2-liter, 2.7-liter, 159 horsepower 4-cylinder. Also a 3.5-liter V6 that has 278 horsepower. Comes in a 6-speed auto, and also one of the few trucks now that does have a 5-speed manual transmission in it, which is very rare now. Comes in a 4x2 and a 4x4. You can get 19 and 24 miles to the gallon. Competition is the Chevy Chevy Colorado, Nissan Frontier, GMC Canyon. Comes in a bunch of trim levels like SR, SR5, TRD Off-Road, and a Limited. Some of the tech is the crawl features or crawl controls, which allows you to basically go over any terrain. You just steer, basically. It does all the throttle response and braking, so you let the truck do it. You just steer where you want it to go, and it will guide it. Also has a hill descent on it, where if you're off-roading going up a steep hill, it won't allow you to slide backwards or anything. It just locks the wheels and waits till you accelerate going up it. Driving impression, I think, on this car is I love it going off-road. I took it up to Mount Hood, and it handled the snow great. It also rides really easily, and it's a very comfortable ride, easy to steer. Some of the good on it, there's just a lot of good things, but for me, like the deck rail systems they have where you can adjust where your rail system or your tie downs in the bed are, it's easy. If you're hauling something, you can actually control where you tie everything down instead of trying to figure it out and having loose gaps in there. Base price is $23,300, and you can top them out at $38,000.
Excellent.
But it's a great truck.
I really enjoyed it too. It has that GoPro mount on the inside as well for your GoPro camera, but it's got some stiff competition and more competition coming into the marketplace. So I think the only thing lacking in that car when I drove it was the tech. The biggest auto show in North America opened this weekend in Chicago, 1 million square feet, 1,000 cars, indoor driving tracks because it was as cold as 1 degree at times outside, and of course, new cars, trucks, and SUVs. Joining us in the studio are regular friends of the show, Jeff Zerschmied, who is the editor-in-chief at testmiles.com and also writes for the Oregonian, and John Vincent, who is at the Portland Tribune doing their automotive, as well as many other hats he wears over there. John, Jeff, tell me what you got excited about at the show. Was it just the weather, or was there a lot more?
No, there was plenty to be excited about at the show. I thought perhaps the most significant launch that we saw at the Chicago Auto Show this year was the new Kia Niro. It is a compact SUV, and it's a hybrid. So joining the RAV4 hybrid and some others, compact SUVs are now the largest single segment selling in the United States. So they've outpaced mid-sized sedans, and there were some hybrids there too from Kia. But I thought that was a brilliant move from Kia, and the car looks like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're actually going to have somebody on from Kia to tell us about that in a little while. I did also notice some interesting stats that came out this week where that light trucks, which includes pickups and those SUVs, will outsell cars by 25% in 2016, which is a significant jump. John, what excited you at the show?
Well, back to the Niro for just a second. It's interesting product placement because they're calling it a CUV, but it's a low-slung, front-wheel drive, small station wagon that has very little CUV in it.
You know, station wagon's a dirty word in North America.
I know, and that's why they're calling it a CUV.
It doesn't help sell cars, unfortunately, and purpose-built hybrid as well. I think it's interesting. That size, the same as the BMW X1, the same as the Mazda CX-3, is becoming highly popular. I do know one of the problems with that size is that it significantly costs more to make than you make profit on them. So they're a touchy class to get into.
Going to the opposite end of the spectrum, the new Ram Power Wagon is just awesome. Yep.
Oh man, it was pretty much made with testosterone, that vehicle.
They put the Rebel grill on it. They worked on the suspension. They put some retro features on, including some retro badges from the 80s. The thing looks fantastic.
Winches front and back. Yeah. Drove it down the stairs just to show off that they could when they introduced it. Yeah, they did a good job.
As they put in their press release, the winch on the front is 12,000 pounds, so it can you can hang other pickup trucks off it.
Right. They like to, and then apparently there is an exhibition of doing that, hanging other pickup trucks off that front winch. But they also like to say, when you come across a vehicle that's maybe not as capable as the Ram Power Wagon, you could tow it out of the snow or the mud or the dirt, which is kind of funny. I don't know what a market that vehicle has. I mean, it's great to see, and I know girls drive trucks too, but it's not as much of a truck as you would think could be a family vehicle. Really, it's not. I mean, I can't imagine you taking your family out to dinner, with that.
It is purpose built.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is for going out and hooning around and having a good time. It's not your working truck.
Let's talk about the Nissan Armada, because we all went out there and went to the Nissan Armada launch. It was a special party where they showed the car off for the first time. I will tell you, I was surprised at the vehicle. I didn't know how much more they could do to it. The back end has been completely redesigned, much nicer looking. The front end, they didn't mess with too much, but cleaned it up.
It is actually completely new and goes to a different platform, goes to the same platform that the Infiniti QX80 is on.
Right.
They're moving production from Mississippi back to Japan because they need the production capability for pickup trucks in Mississippi. And so it goes on a platform that they've had for a vehicle around the world called the Nissan Patrol, which is a very long-standing, venerable nameplate around the world for them.
I think that's a great idea because, of course, as we talked about at the top of the show, top of the segment, Americans are buying more light trucks, which is those mid-size SUVs, CUVs, and that means that they need that production facility for their Murano, for their Rogue. They need room to make those cars. They're growing segments, but I think there's still need for the Armada. I mean, America's really had that segment. And they own that segment of the large SUV. There are very few full-size SUVs that are made outside from outside North America.
Well, Nissan put a lot into the interior of the new Armada as well, and it turned out well. It's a nice, luxurious vehicle, and maybe it'll come in a little bit lower price point than the QX80 and provide an alternative to the real high-end full-size SUVs.
That's just in a few minutes, or the minute we have left, just talk a little bit about Chicago Auto Show as a whole. This comes so close to Detroit that a lot of automakers don't release cars there. It's a very trim truck market. You guys are going to be back in the last segment of the show. We can talk about some of the cars that were shown, but it really is one of those shows which is consumer driven much more than the shows that we see that are product driven, right?
Yes, it is. And when they say it's the largest auto show in North America, it is in square footage larger than Detroit, LA, and New York put together.
Yeah, it's a pretty big auto show, and my legs will tell you how big it is as well. And temperatures, of course, so you wander outside, completely freezing. It's unbelievable that I have a video on my Facebook page where you can see the water in my car is frozen overnight in the hotel parking lot of the vehicle. When we come back, we'll talk about that new Kia Niro. This is Test Miles, FM News 101 KXL. I am Nick Miles.